My name is Helena, and for decades, I was the woman who sacrificed everything for a family that never truly saw me. I was a wife, mother, housewife, nurse, cook, driver, psychologist, emotional provider, and shield. And in all these roles, I disappeared, a little more, until the day I looked in the mirror and no longer knew who that woman with dull eyes, hunched shoulders, an exhausted soul, and a heart hardened by disappointment was. But what really destroyed me was not the lack of recognition, but the betrayal that came from where I least expected it, from my own son. Gabriel, the boy for whom I would give my life without a second thought, the one I rocked in the middle of the night when he had a fever, the one I defended at school meetings when they said he was aggressive, the one I taught to tie his shoelaces, to read, to think, the one to whom I gave everything when he turned 18. I made a point of throwing a party even against the wishes of my husband, Marcos, who always said I was overreacting, that I was being dramatic, that a boy his age didn't care about such things. I prepared everything with love, organized the hall in the building, ordered a cake with his favorite things, asked my in-laws to be there, and spent sleepless nights to make sure nothing went wrong. The gift I bought was the result of months of research, phone calls, favors, and humiliation. A spot at the most prestigious winter camp in the United States, where only the children of the most influential families could get in. In my mind, I was opening a door to my son's future. When it was time to sing "Happy Birthday," everyone was smiling. The grandparents showered him with praise. Marcos made jokes, and Gabriel thanked each person one by one with that look of superiority he had learned to use from an early age. When it was my turn, he hesitated, gave me a look of contempt, and said, "I hope you get divorced soon and disappear from our lives." In front of everyone, those words froze the room. An awkward silence spread, followed by Marcos's muffled laughter as he crossed his arms and said, "You reap what you sow. Helena, who told you to be so hard on him his whole life?" I felt like the ground had disappeared. My eyes burned, my throat went dry, and the gift trembled in my hands. I wanted to ask why. I wanted to beg. I wanted to hug him. But I stood there, speechless. Days later, Gabriel left the country with his father and grandparents, just like that. No warning, no goodbye. They took their bags, clothes, documents, and even things I had bought for them. They left only a cold letter saying it would be better this way. I was left alone in a stuffy apartment with water seeping through the walls and windows that wouldn't open. Time passed and I withered away. Illness crept up on me, with persistent fatigue, body aches, and dizziness. Then came the sores on my legs, the strange smell in the room, the feeling of rotting alive. I was found by chance when a condominium employee smelled the odor coming from the door. I was taken to the hospital unconscious. When I woke up, they were already discussing my terminal condition. No one in my family had been located until they recognized my son from the photos in the room and called him. He answered. They saw that he was a successful businessman, famous, admired, and yet, when he saw me on the screen, he frowned and asked, "Why isn't she dead yet?" Then he hung up. Without hesitation, I tried to speak, to shout his name, but my body wouldn't respond. A volunteer insisted, asked him to come. "She's not my mother," he replied. "She's just an old stranger. Do what you want." And then, I died. Or I thought I had died. I woke up on the exact day of Gabriel's 18th birthday party. It was as if the universe had given me a second chance. The hall was set up. The cake was in the center. Marcos was telling the same jokes. My in-laws were smiling falsely. The gift was in my hands. Everything was repeating itself. But I was different. When Gabriel repeated the same cruel wish, I didn't cry. I just nodded and said calmly, "Okay." Marcos laughed, thinking I was joking. My in-laws said I was unbalanced. But that afternoon, I went to the registry office and filed for divorce. Marcos tried to stop me, saying I was acting on impulse. I said it was lucidity. He was speechless. He thought I would change my mind, as I always did. I signed the papers without hesitation, even though I knew I would leave empty-handed, because almost everything was in his family's name. When Gabriel found out that the ticket was real, and that I had rejected him, he came after me demanding that I give it back. I refused. I said it wasn't his anymore. He yelled, cursed me, said I was selfish, that I was ruining his life. His grandmother came to accuse me of being with someone else, of being an easy woman. You've never been anything but an ignorant country girl, she spat. I listened to everything in silence, and I left. I rented a small room with what little I had left. I started giving private lessons to a girl named Clara, the daughter of the man who rented me the room. She struggled in school, but she was hardworking. Within weeks, her grades improved. Her father treated me with respect, offered me food, and said I was an angel who had appeared in their lives. One day, we went out to celebrate one of Clara's achievements and ran into Gabriel and Marcos. They saw me and mocked me. Gabriel said I was a failure, that I was begging for lessons. Marcos asked if Clara was my new daughter. I didn't answer. Clara tried to defend me, but I stopped her. They don't even deserve your anger, I said. But inside, the pain burned. 2 weeks later, Clara was called up among the best in the school. I was indescribably proud. Returning from the celebration, I found Gabriel, Marcos, and her grandparents standing in front of the building. Gabriel, furious, wanted to know why the ticket had been refused. I explained that I had sold the original for a very high price, and that what he had received was only symbolic. Everyone was in shock, Marcos shouted, saying that I had sabotaged him. You always said you were better than me, I replied. Then prove it. Gabriel turned pale. His grandmother wanted to hit me, and I just said, good luck. In the days that followed, I learned that Marcos tried to get another ticket, without success. Gabriel went into crisis. He cried, screamed, threatened to kill himself. His grandparents tried to console him with more attacks against me, but in the end, everything fell apart. A month later, Gabriel showed up at my new address, crying dirty, with deep dark circles under his eyes. He knelt at the gate. Mom, forgive me. I was wrong. I love you. I looked at him and saw the boy I had rocked to sleep, but I also saw the man who had abandoned me. I'm not your mother anymore, Gabriel. I have nothing left to give you. He insisted. He cried. He said that without me he was lost, that Marcos had taken another woman home, that his grandparents had sold everything to pay for his trip. He said he was alone. I just closed the gate. I fled the city. I changed my name. I started over. Years later, I married a kind man. We had a daughter. We built a peaceful life. On a trip to the United States, I walked into a restaurant and ran into Gabriel. He was a waiter, aged, tired. When he saw me, he froze. He tried to say something, but when he saw my daughter smiling at me, he backed away. He didn't say a word. He just ran away. My daughter asked who he was. No one, I replied. Someone I knew in another life. And we went back to lunch. Because there comes a time when it's no longer about revenge. It's about peace. And I finally found mine. Because loving doesn't mean erasing yourself. And forgiving doesn't mean nullifying yourself today. I look in the mirror and see Helena, the woman who survived, who was reborn, who finally learned to live for herself.